what do you do to put yourself in the shoes of other people? You know, to be a writer is all about putting yourself in the shoes of other people. If you're not able to do that, you're a very mediocre, you're a very bad writer. And writing is about getting outside of yourself and getting inside the worlds of others and mining that world for a fiction, for nonfiction, whatever it is. And so I'm kind of peculiar. So it's hard for me to be totally practical in that. I'm always having this sensation all the time, almost every day, when I see a stranger or I see a movie, like I'm that person. I'm feeling what they're feeling in the moment. It's not anything I can verbalize. It doesn't last very long, but for a flash, I feel like I know what it's like. And this crosses genders. You know, I can understand what that woman is feeling. It crosses class, you know, it crosses education barriers. It even crosses species barriers. Sometimes I'm feeling, I know what my cat is feeling. I know what that bird is sensing. And it's probably not 100% accurate, but there's some truth to it. It's this sort of empathy and openness to other people. So the key here is, and I've written about this in Human Nature, is your level of interest in other people. If you're so self-absorbed that all you care about is your own thoughts and feelings, you can't get inside other people. And I notice, like, I'll watch people at a restaurant, and the one person will be like this, the other person will be like that with their phones. And then as I'm trying to put myself in their place and see what's going on in their minds, I hear that neither one is listening to the other. They're just listening to their own thoughts in their brain. And if you thought deeply about yourself and your own conversations, you would realize that as you're talking to someone, to your parents, to your loved ones, half of your brain, even more, is absorbed in your own thoughts, your own preoccupations. The reason is you're more interested in yourself than in other people. You are not curious. So the main thing you have to do is you have to flip that around and find your own thoughts rather boring. They kind of go in circles. And the other person is more interesting than you are. They have something weird. They have things that are not you. They're foreign. They're almost like a space alien. They've got a totally different world that they inhabit. If you could understand that world, it'd be very exciting. So your level of curiosity, your level of interest in other people is what's going to make you able to understand what's going on inside them. To get outside of yourself, you have to make that happen. You have to decide that I'm truly interested in other people. And so I tell people, try this exercise, okay? When you're in some situation that's very banal, you're at Starbucks, you're at a grocery store, you're waiting online for a bus, whatever, and you see a person there. It's not something that's necessarily interesting. It's just a person, any average everyday person. Try and put yourself, what is their world like, okay? Imagine them at home, right? And their apartment, and imagine them with their children or their spouse, and imagine where they came from and the culture they came from and their family. Now, it's not going to be accurate, of course it is, you have no idea, but it's going to make you interested. It's going to bridge that gap where suddenly thinking, I want to know maybe what their experience is like. And at some point, if you do this often enough, you develop this muscle where you'll have that eerie sensation like I have, that for a moment, your consciousness is crossed over into theirs, and you have a feeling, an emotion that says, this is kind of maybe what they're going through at that moment. I do that a lot when I watch movies, particularly older movies. I'm always thinking, what is it like in that moment? What is that character feeling in that moment? What is their world like? And they're obviously playing a part. But it's sometimes easier because their character is so real and so different. It's almost easier to do. But try practicing that on a day-to-day basis and see if that develops this muscle that I'm talking about. What do I think about AI and how will it impact creative work? Well, let me confess something to you all. I am not a fan of AI. I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism for it. I know people are going to say, Robert, you're a typical boomer, even though I'm not really a boomer. I'm kind of on the cusp of it. Or, you're just an old blah, 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 or whatever. You just don't get it. I come from a different perspective on these things. Basically, these large language models, you just feed all those reams of information for them. It's basically just using what other people have created. And I can see the benefit sometimes when I read about how this will lead to some incredible discoveries in health, in the sciences, in medicine. I'm not going to poo-poo that. That would be great because the computing power is so immense that problems that have bedeviled us for centuries will be solved in a matter of days or weeks. That's very interesting to me, and I don't deny that. But damn it, you have to look at it from the other side. We are human beings. We are not machines. We are not algorithms. Our minds don't work like that. And we evolved 50, 100,000 years ago as these creatures, these animals that are wired a particular way. We have very powerful emotions that govern who we are. We want things, we're locked in the moment, just like any animal is. We can't see, even though we're aware of the future, we just simply respond to things that are immediately before us. We have this kind of emotional immaturity that we have carried throughout the centuries. And here we arrive at 2025, and we have these immensely powerful tools, beginning with the internet and now, culminating in AI. I'm sure there's going to be something else in the future, the singularity or whatever you want to call it, coming up ahead. We have these immensely powerful instruments, yet we remain these apes with very adaptive flaws in our chemistry and how our brains are wired. We are not built to handle these immensely powerful things that we have created. We don't see the consequences. We are not emotionally mature. So just as there will be these amazing inventions that we cannot foresee, like in science fiction, that will solve all the problems, they'll solve climate change and global warming and cancer and etc. There will be all of these horrifying consequences that people who are truly evil, who truly don't care about others, who are truly out for their own interests, criminals, criminal-minded people, are going to find AI to be the most brilliant tool to control and manipulate the masses of people we are essentially weak and we are very easily manipulated. So on the good side, wow, all these amazing things. People don't understand the incredible negative power and consequences that could come from tools like this falling into the hands of people who don't have the best interests in heart of humanity. It could end up being the destruction of the world, given, wow, I could build a nuclear bomb in 5 days and I'm part of this little tiny cult. I'm just going to blow up the world. These things are very, very possible. But the other aspect of it that really, really annoys me is that creativity is not a matter of algorithms. So people will show me these paintings and these images that were done from AI. Look how funny and weird they go. I look at them, they've got no soul behind them. They're clearly manipulation of cut and pasted of images that aren't like anything in the real world. There's no human spirit behind it. It's clearly something from a machine. I read poetry that people have written, or this is how Robert Greene would write the 48 Laws of Power. It mimics my language, but there's no soul behind it. There's no spirit behind it. It's empty. It feels empty. It reads empty. It looks empty. We are losing our humanity. We're losing our sense of what it means to be a human being, to make things with our hands, to touch things, to create things. To be creative, you have to go through a process. You have to try this, that, and the other, A, B, and C, decide that A and B don't work, C, you try C, it doesn't work, you on and on, you go through this process. The process that I tried to enumerate in Mastery in chapter 5 on the creative process itself. It requires patience, it requires skills, it requires learning something very deeply so that you have a feel for it, right? And you've internalized it. Played the piano so many times that it's at your fingertips, right? It's inside of you. It's a beautiful, beautiful process to master some kind of skill and to be truly, truly creative. It's not a matter of just information being fed into a machine and then spit out. It's not a matter of large language models swallowing all of these images and swallowing all of these books that have written. That's not being creative. That's a machine. It's not a good tool for being creative. And if people start relying on it to write their books, to make their movies, to write their music, which is happening, we're going to lose what it means to be a human being. We're going to lose our spirit. We're going to lose our soul. I don't want to live in that kind of world. I'm more amazed at an incredible work of art that I can't even imagine how it was created by some fantastic individual than I am by anything that technology has created, to be honest with you. Because that is what excites me, is the human powers behind things. You can call me a fossil, which I probably am, but I think a point will be reached in 50, 60 years where people might start realizing some of this and might have a nostalgia for going back to a time in history when it wasn't this incredible infatuation with technology that we have right now. And that the infatuation should be with the human mind and the human brain. Because as I've said many times on podcasts ad nauseum, the human brain is by far the most amazing organ instrument ever created in the history of the universe. Its complexity is unbelievable. The amount of connections that we can have in our brain are astronomical. That's what we should be so enamored with. That's what we should be emphasizing in our schools and for children, etc. If AI could be a tool, just a tool that we could use to help us become more creative, I can maybe see the virtue in that. But what it will end up happening is it will end up taking us over. They'll end up using us instead of us using them, which is what has happened with the internet. So I'm going to end my rant on that point.